Hello everybody and welcome back to Middle-earth and another episode of our 4th Age Total War Dwarves campaign. And today I have a couple of discoveries regarding our friends the Dunlandings. Now I've been trying to make them my protectorate for a couple of turns now. We've got them bottled up to these two settlements here. First discovery, they have no family members in Lymphalis. Now my plan earlier was to maybe let Dunfada fall because it's got the larger garrison of the two, and then apply pressure to Dunland diplomatically to get them to submit to become my protectorate. The problem, of course, with that is if this settlement falls, all of their family members are in here, and so the faction is eliminated, even if this remains. So that's problem number one. Problem number two is that Dunfad is not doing so well. It is racked by plague as it is under siege. So that means that if I don't make them my protectorate, this family, royal family of Dunland, may just be eliminated anyway. So I want to give it one more shot. It's a new turn here. We're going to lift the siege, and I'm going to see if there's anything they want first. Okay, they want all of this stuff. Okay, obviously they're making some ridiculous demands here. Basically all the settlements back that I took. And a ton of money and map information. So I'm going to offer map information. I'm going to offer a bunch of money, but I'm not going to offer all of these settlements. Let's see. Let's offer Anghal because I don't really want that one anyway. And let's, instead of offering 88,000, let's offer literally all of my money. And we'll see if this works. Not enough. So they're going to be extremely stubborn. So that may just mean that we're going to have to eliminate them. Now it could be that they don't like taking a settlement back. It could just be that for some reason they're suspicious of me, or maybe they're just extremely stubborn. I have had this happen before. Some factions are pretty easy to get as a protectorate. Some are much more difficult. And Dunland seems like one of the more stubborn ones, and I'm not 100% sure why. In any case, that's that. The other thing that I did is something a little bit different over here. In the previous episode, I had this settlement under siege, but they're no longer under siege. I moved that army down south, and I did that specifically to pick up some mercenaries. So we are just a couple of settlements away from victory here, and one of the goals was to get some territory in Khand, maybe even in Harad. I don't think that's going to happen. It's time to be honest with myself and recognize that I'm probably going to go for the victory here, but just getting one more settlement. And so that means, unfortunately, I won't be seeing all the fun hirelings that the Dwarves do get. I do highly recommend it for those of you interested in playing a longer game with the Dwarves than you are seeing here. Getting some territory in Khand and Harad will get you some very useful cavalry hirelings that you can train. However, the other thing you can do is just go into those territories and recruit the mercs yourself. And so that's what I've done here. I've gone down into just within the border of Muldin, which is High Khand. I had just enough movement points to get in here, and that meant that I could train, or recruit rather, all of these mercenaries, Dragon Shield Riders, 3 units of the Light Horse Archers, and another unit of Variag Mercenaries. And so we've got those mercs, and so we are ready to now... Ooh. Ooh, let's see what we can do here. All right, this is unexpected. We, for once, are in a position where we've got a good amount of cav, and we're facing an infantry heavy army. This is another noble, and this is a captain with cav, but that's the only cav they have. Ooh. So we need one settlement to win the campaign. If we can make it this one, we go out with maybe not a bang, but maybe not a whimper at least. My concern is that the campaign ends extremely anticlimactically with just the sieges in Dunland being resolved, and that's that. So maybe I can make this happen in a more dramatic fashion. So let's of course we're in the woods, but what we need to do here is go out very quickly towards straight in front of us, because that's where the reinforcements are coming from. The reinforcements, of course, are from the city. Alright, and so these are all of the ranged units. Ranged infantry, at least. We do have these units as well, and I think we'll just keep this rough formation. More importantly, though, we want to get the cavalry out, the horse archers, backed up by the Rovanian cav, and so that's how we're going to do this. We'll keep them in a group, everyone else is in a different group.
Ha! The enemy have brought more weaklings to
So we want to head
reinforce their
straight for
line.
that army. We want to set up kind of in the middle of them. You know what, let's not run actually, because we want to preserve the stamina of these riders so that they will move quicker when that is needed. And we also don't want to scare off this reinforcing army. If they determine that that we're too much of a threat for them to handle, they may end up just fleeing the battlefield, and we really don't want that. So this has the potential to get rather messy. Okay, they've got some archers. That's fine. Alright, so the axemen of Rune are approaching here. These slingers can kite. Alright. This is not going to be the cleanest battle by far. There we go. There's the general. And now we want to use the cav to run down their archers. So far, it doesn't look like they're retreating. Oh, is he running now? They're heading back.
The enemy army runs. Now hunt them down.
Well, shoot. Don't suppose we can catch that family member. All right. Just gonna make it. Well, that's frustrating.
All right. Now hunt them down.
So pretty much all that's going to be left is looks like a unit of archers and the unit of maybe another warband or something like that. That's too bad. He chickened out and ran off. Well, at least we get to fight another field battle here. So we'll build up the rams there, and we may have another field battle in a moment because we're going to have this army, I imagine, try to relieve the city. In fact, that is their capital. All right, elsewhere, we are kind of running up into the limit of our public order, I guess. Because I've conquered quite a bit in the past few turns and have been not very diligent about incorporating those places into my realm. So a lot of places are sort of set up with Outland Dominion and so forth, but several of them are not. Anghal, Raycoast, Thordram, and so Raycoast is going to be all set in a couple of turns. But that, as you can see, is causing public order issues across my realm. North Rune is doing rather well for itself. Took Belligant away from, I think that was Dorwinian. So, let's give it another turn. Alright, no attacks from Rune. I don't even know where they are.
Moving into position. Moving. No more.
I think they must have just gone back into Adel. So I guess it will end with a whimper here. We have 3 settlements under siege currently, and that is more than we need to win the campaign. We do have an army that is slowly marching over to Gwaithring, so that's like 3 turns before we even get there. And we are also at the point in Thordram where we could bring some dwarves out of the city because the garrison is providing as much benefit as it can. So we could take out, for example, all of these high tier units, maybe. Nope, not quite.
Yes, Chief. Orders. Leaving the army.
60, maybe not even that many.
Orders. Yes, Captain.
Okay, so we could potentially bring these guys up to meet with this reinforcing army on its way there. I'm going to give Dunland one more chance. They've got 4 turns left in this settlement, and I wish I could see inside who is here. But let's give him another chance to
Destroy. Break off the siege.
Awaiting your command. I will.
All right, so we're going to go with accept overlordship, and I'm just going to offer them money this time. And it's going to be all of it, and it's going to be more than it was before, and they're probably going to say no. So we then are going to, let's see, we want to just assault this. Yeah, this is the ruler, and he has the plague, and his heir also has the plague. So let's just auto-calc this. We'll win. Dunland is eliminated, and we have completed the victory conditions for this campaign. So let's resume the campaign really quickly here and lay desolate. Now, of course, we have the plague in Dunfata, and that is not good. Now, what you're seeing here is the peace with the dead script. Very important to remember to activate this when you eliminate a faction or when any faction on the map has been eliminated. You just click the Show Me How button, and what will come down here is all these messages saying that Dunland is no longer allied with the Dunabar anymore, which may seem strange, but and Dunland is no longer at war with all these other factions. But Vanilla Rome had this bug whereby if a faction died, it would still maintain all of its alliances and wars, and so that could mean that, for example, I could never ally with a Dunabar because it still thinks that I'm at war with its ally Dunland. So by activating that script, now I have a chance potentially to make peace with the Dunabar, and they may take it, because if we look at the map in other parts of the world, we can see that the Dunabar is moving into Rohan's territory and is likely to continue on this path, and eventually would be running into me. But as we can also see, Harad is having a harder time down here holding on to its territories. Let's remove the fog of war. Since we're done with the campaign, and just see how things are shaping up elsewhere. As we knew, Gondor is now just swamped with a sea of Southrons, who have taken Minas Ithil, Minas Anor, and all of the major parts of Gondor, even the coast. They're now besieging Mornin. They lost Lynn here, which doesn't surprise me because Harad has a ridiculous amount of territory. So they're running into public order problems from Calenhad all the way down to Far Harad in the distant south, all the way over to Khand. However, Adunabar is somewhat resurgent at the moment. As you can see, they still have their territories in Mordor, with the one exception of Lond Nurnin, which is manned by a very aggressive and large-looking Khandian faction. I briefly entertained the thought of coming over here and forcing Khand to hoard by taking Lond Nurnin, but I can see now they've still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stacks, so that would be a very difficult thing to do, which explains why Adunabar hasn't been able to do it, although I don't know if they're actually at war. No, they're not. So Khand is just hanging out, I think still at war with Harad, but with nobody else. So not likely to make any big changes in this area. But Adunabar is moving, taking over territory that was held by Khand and then by Harad, and looking like they're doing a fairly decent job of holding it. So if I were to continue, I would run into trouble potentially from Adunabar in the south. Not too worried about Harad in this part of the world because, as we can see, they struggle to maintain such a large empire. So I might have 1 or 2 battles, but they wouldn't be around for very long. The other faction that is shaping up quite strong on my western border is Rovanian. They've actually held all of their initial territory, and they have expanded a bit into Thrimfeld and down into this part of Rovanian, just because I have not been bothered to take or keep it. Derwinion is reduced to just a couple of settlements, one of which is probably going to fall very soon, and then the other may follow, which may mean that Rovanian is going to be the next large power in the north to threaten me. So I would, in that case, probably want to cultivate a relationship with North Rune if possible. However, if I take Gwaithring, I do have a fairly lengthy border with North Rune, so it might be harder to do that than I imagine. In the west, simple enough matter over here to continue the conquest of Dunland, but the thing that I was worried about was Tharbad. For some reason, they are training a ridiculous amount of troops here, so it's almost worse than Harad in some ways. But they're also not doing anything with them. This is very peculiar. They have moved into the west to take off over these formerly rebel settlements, but I think what they were waiting for was a resolution to this war along their southern border. I'm allied with them, so that alliance has hold, which is very good. I'm their only ally, in fact. They are technically, or nominally at least, at war with Adunabar, but have done nothing to actually expand. Now, Tharbad is an interesting faction in terms of when they're AI controlled. In some cases, they can go nuts and take over the entire north. In other cases, they tend to turtle up and just kind of watch events. And I think the fact that there's not been a single obvious winner in the north between, me, Adunabar, and the Reunited Kingdom has left them feeling a little uncertain about proceeding. They're not allied with the Reunited Kingdom, but they're not at war with them either. So I think they're just content to guard their own territories. As you can see, they're doing a very intimidating job of it. But we've got a ton of money here. If Dunland were not more, we're not quite as stubborn, we could have made them a protectorate. Usually it does not take nearly this much money to get a protectorate, but Dunland probably hated us because of our long war and was also benefiting from its alliance with Adunabar, which made it feel stronger than it actually was. In the center of our realm, we're doing quite well holding off the Bjornings, and probably future moves would have seen the Dwarves head over into the west to take over Andlang and potentially Gladdenhold, although I guess the Bjornings lost this to a rebellion as well, so taking Andlang would have been enough to almost link up our territories. Another thing that we saw briefly was this elven scout going into Old Fort and then getting kicked out. That could be interesting to see if we were to go to war with the elves. Now that would need to come from us. The elves are not going to attack us unless we were to trespass on their territory. But it would certainly be desirable to take Karas Galadon to link up Dwerodelf with this central part of our realm. as well as potentially to take the Elven King's halls, just because it seems kind of nice to sort of get the corner on all of this territory up here. Otherwise, Elven territories do not offer us very much at all. So at any rate, I hope you enjoyed the campaign. This is the first time I've completed a Let's Play campaign. It's too bad that it didn't end on a bit of a more dramatic note, but that's the way of Total War campaigns. You play until you feel like no longer playing, or you play until the campaign is done, but rarely do those things happen roughly at the same time. So in any case, I hope you join me for some other things. I already have an idea in the works for a future campaign that will be a little bit different. Instead of going for the victory conditions, I may try some other stuff. And I think seeing Khand in the Horde like this has piqued my curiosity, and I'd like to try my hand at a Khand Horde campaign, a migration campaign, if you will, where we pull up stakes from their homelands and then head somewhere else. So I may be starting that soon. Keep your eye out for that, and thank you once again for joining me. I hope you will follow the channel as we continue to have 4th Age guides and updates on the upcoming Wayne Riders mod. Until then, have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.